Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. This week, I want to talk to you all about the appeal of the fresh start and if it is actually hosing your progress. And so you're going to discover today the psychology to look out for behind the fresh start, the language of the fresh start to help you identify it. And I'm going to introduce you to my new tool to help you to overcome it. So why this topic? Well, what led to this show? I am a resident food freedom expert in a friend of mine's self-care club. And each month we have a theme to cover. And as experts, this month it was all about new beginnings. And it got me thinking about what does it mean to me and what could it mean to the listeners of the show? And obviously the people of the self-care group as well. So you'll experience a number of new beginnings in your lifetime and sometimes multiples at once. Maybe you're starting a new job or a new career path, or maybe you're moving to a new house, a new city, a new country. You could be taking up a new hobby or interest or a skill that you've always wanted to pursue. You know, the amount of new beginnings that we will have in our lifetime is crazy, right? So I myself have just passed my accreditation for belief coding. So I'm now an accredited belief coding facilitator, which is a new chapter for me. It's a new chapter in my business. And I've also started to learn Reiki this month as well. And I'm going to be working my way up to the master level. And so there's a lot of new beginnings for me as well. Ultimately, embarking on a new beginning, it can lead to a stepping out of our comfort zone. It may involve embracing change, which could, depending on your thoughts and emotions that come up, be knocking into your eating. So this was one option that I could have gone down. And it's certainly something that we can work on these kind of things together, whether that be in the membership one-to-one. And what I decided to cover though was the old, I'm drawing a line, I'll start again Monday type mentality, this diet thinking that we've acquired over the years and how we can actually overcome that and explore that for food and life freedom. So let's unpack this a little bit. I want to help you to explore what this means for you, because actually all of these podcasts, really, these are just me sharing ideas, concepts with you. You take them away, you decide what's important, what resonates for you, and then, look to apply it. And then if you want to take any of those things deeper, then you know where to find it in the membership. And so tell me in the chat, when it comes to food, what does new beginnings mean to you? I genuinely would like to know. So if you're watching this live as I'm recording it on Facebook, leave it on the Facebook. If you're catching this on podcast or YouTube, there's usually somewhere to leave any answers. So still, play along as you are listening to this or watching it wherever you are, as long as it's safe to do so. Of course, if you're listening to a podcast in a car, please don't type. Anyway, what does this new beginning mean for you? So are you excited? Is it like cracking open a new, fresh notebook, all those blank pages just waiting to be filled with possibility? Or are you staring at those blank pages, fearful and anxious about what it is that you're going to write and whether it's going to be good enough? And when we're working on our relationship with food, it can feel like a roller coaster. It's always described as a roller coaster. And if you're a traditional dieter, then it could feel like you're at the big one at Blackpool, huge highs and huge big drops. Diet culture has often been one that leads to phrases like starting again, on and off the wagon, back again, I'll start again Monday, drawing a line, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. But sticking to the notebook analogy for a moment and swapping it out to diets, if you think of every time you start a new diet and every time you restart or have a fresh start, it would be like starting a new notebook. And so you just end up with this big pile of notebooks. But maybe really you haven't finished the last one. So again, you just gather this big pile of unfinished notebooks. Or maybe you could think of it like you're scribbling in a notebook and then ripping out the pages because you're just trying to restart. You're just trying to keep just getting that fresh page because you don't like what was on the other pages, right? And then it's like a raggedy tatty notebook, and the old original crisp beautiful one with all those clean pages is now ripped and broken. And that for me was what I was picturing, these restarts, like every time we do this restart, we kind of rip a bit out of the book, but actually you're left with that jaggedy bit because you're not dealing with the issue, you're not dealing with whatever's on that page. But what if you could keep that notebook looking nice and clean and pristine? What if you could have this one beautiful notebook and continuously write the beautiful story that is your life? So there may be plot twists, There may be different chapters. There's going to be a few mistakes along the way, but still the notebook gets filled and it continues on. Because here's the thing, the whole starting again thing, it's not just about our relationship with food or weight loss if you're working on it. No, it creeps into every nook and cranny of your life. You can draw lines in all areas of our lives. We hop on and off the wagon. We can always be chasing that elusive fresh start and the next best thing. But what if life isn't about starting again and new beginnings? What if I told you that life is more like a dial that you can just crank things up and down whenever you fancy? So let's talk a little bit about the appeal of the fresh start. Let's face it, we humans, and especially those of us who have ever dieted, can have a teensy weensy obsession with starting again, especially on Mondays. It's like we're all stuck in this perpetual loop of Groundhog Day, vowing to kickstart our wellness journey every Monday, only to end up back to square one by Friday. So does that sound familiar? Let me know in the chat wherever you are catching this. It turns out there's actually a fair bit of science, a fair bit of psychology behind this whole starting again Monday thing. So as humans, we're creatures of habit. We love routines, structure, predictability. Our brains absolutely love it. I've talked many times about how, like I say, the purpose of our brain is to keep the status quo. And what's more predictable than the start of a new week? It's ingrained in our culture as humans, thanks to the man-made creation of time and the working week typically starting on Monday. And it can feel good, right? To hit that reset button on life, weight loss, and everything in between. To feel like that you can wipe the slate clean and start afresh. But here's where it gets interesting. The desire for that fresh start could actually be backfiring on you. The initial relief that you felt from that fresh start can ebb away. You may then find that guilt and shame come up as you haven't really let go of the past week, the past month, the past year, or whatever it is that you were trying to restart. And when we're constantly finding ourselves in this cycle of starting again, it can lead to feelings of frustration, disappointment, and again, that guilt and shame. And we start to question our abilities as to whether we can actually stick to our goals. And before we know it, we're again right back where we started. And we've also then not learned anything from that previous period as we've just attempted to draw that line and pop it under the carpet. And we don't actually look at where we went off track. And so we just continue to repeat the same patterns because it's what our brain knows. It's our norm. It's our well-worn groove. But also, if there is any type of delay between now and the fresh start, like it will start on Monday, then it's actually a sign that you're usually trying to get away from something. You're resisting something. You're not wanting to do whatever it is. And there's, from a food point of view, and if you're working on weight loss, there's likely to be a whole load of food consumed down the hatch in the meantime. And so if you want something to change, you have to make the change happen. And so a fresh start, drawing a line, starting again, often doesn't miracle the change. Just like new year, new me, it's all a load of bull unless you do it differently. But what if I told you that there was another way? What if I told you that life and our relationship with food isn't about starting again, but rather embracing the journey as one continuous flow? So again, think of it like a river constantly flowing and evolving rather than just a series of stop starts. It's just flowing and meandering however it needs to flow. But by understanding the psychology behind that starting again mentality, you can start to break free from its grip once you start to see your patterns, your personal patterns. You can then learn to embrace that journey with all its twists, its turns, its successes, and its setbacks. That was a bit of a tongue twister. Because let's face it, life isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And that's something that we can all hopefully get on board with, right? So, what is the problem with start again mentality, of drawing the line, of refreshes, of resets? Oh, well, as with all things that I share in all of these shows, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not. Point is, you get to explore this with loving curiosity and you get to decide. And I would offer that you can use my method, the AAA way, so awareness, action, and accountability. And that always starts by gathering that awareness of what it means to you. And of course, if you want to know how, you can check the description box, grab access to the membership, because there's going to be some resources going into the membership this week, as there is every week. But let's look at the side where it is impacting your relationship with food and life, how that start again mentality could be impacting you. So again, let me know if this resonates with you and then any takeaways that's coming up. So when you have that start again mentality, it's about trying something new or starting over when things don't go as planned, typically. Starting something new is not necessarily a bad thing, of course, unless you find yourself bouncing from one thing to the next, not really giving anything a chance. Likewise, having a reset when things go wrong is again not intrinsically bad, unless, like I said earlier, you're not learning and learning from the past and you're just continuing to bounce and do the same thing, or you're ending up in some kind of emotional situation like a shame spiral, or you do it to try and erase away a perceived mistake because you think the mistake is quote unquote bad. And so here's an idea for you to step into action. Instead of getting caught up in that cycle of starting again, just focus on small sustainable changes that move you forward. It's the underpinning to motivation and momentum, just taking one baby teeny tiny step at a time. Because in the end, it's not about how many times you start again, but how you keep moving forward, no matter what life throws at you. So look to learn from the experiences, to have a growth mindset. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes when you learn that there is a power in failing forward. And this is, again, what I encourage Wellness for Women members and my one-to-one clients to do. It's taking these small actions in the direction that you want to travel in to build that momentum, ease, and motivation. So how does that land for you? Let me know in the chat, what your thoughts are on that. Do you often find yourself, so again, let's get into this. Do you often find yourself saying, I'm going to start again, that you're drawing a line? Do you have an invisible wagon that you fall off and get on and fall off of it? Do you find yourself bouncing from one thing to the next, looking for quick fixes? Do you find yourself in Groundhog Day going round and round in a circle? And does it feel energetically good, or do you feel like shit? And so that's something to just sort of, again, just have a think about, and just, the next time you go to say, right, I'm drawing a line, I'm having a reset, I'm having a fresh, how does that feel? And how do you feel by the end of the week? So let's look at the language of the fresh start. So just so that you can really help to identify that. So let's see if you are caught in the fresh start, new beginning trap, the allure. I just like saying that word, allure. The allure of the fresh start can be intoxicating, can't it? It's like, again, hitting that reset button on life, a chance to wipe that slate clean and to start afresh. And who doesn't love a clean slate? It feels like a breath of fresh air, a chance to leave the past behind and to step into a brighter future. And this fresh start may give you a temporary relief. You will feel a bit better. And so you think, yeah, this is the right thing to do. But again, it doesn't often address that underlying issue, that why you're hitting that reset button in the first place. It's like, again, putting a band-aid, putting a plaster on a wound without actually cleaning it first. So sure, it's going to cover it up for a while, but again, eventually that infection will resurface. So again, let me ask you this. Why the need for the fresh start? What is it about your current situation that has you craving the clean slate? Is it because you've made a mistake and you want to start over, or are you avoiding facing the truth, for example? And the truth is that the fresh start can be a slippery slope. It can lull us into that false sense of security, making us believe that we've forgiven ourselves for our past mistakes when really we've just swept them under the carpet. And so again, that carpet, that rug, it's only going to hold so much, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And then eventually you've got that big bulge at the seams. So again, how do you know that you're caught in the fresh start trap? Well, here's a few signs to look out for. So you've got an Instagram handle, perhaps like back again, on it again, or starting over. Absolutely zero judgment from me. I have a Fitbit. It's buried in my drawer somewhere at the moment because I got sick of charging it. But my handle on there at one point was something like, back again 21 or something, or equivalent, whatever year it happened to be that I bought the Fitbit. And I thought that it was clever, maybe even motivational. But truth be told, it was more of a downer more than anything, because I just kept, every time I'd log in, I'm like, just a reminder of the fact that I was back yet again, because I'd been in this cycle of on and off diets for God knows how long. Maybe you find yourself constantly saying you'll start again Monday, but without really understanding why. maybe you are again drawing lines all over the place, declaring to anybody and everybody who will listen, right, that's it, drawing a line, that's it, right, I'm starting again tomorrow. Hoping again all the time that this time it'll be different, but really deep down it isn't going to be. And you know that it won't, but we still keep doing it, is what we're used to doing. Or again, maybe you bounce from one diet or wellness trend to the next, searching for that magic bullet, all in search of solving your problems. And again, it's that feeling. How does it actually feel to you? Are you feeling like you're in this Groundhog Day, go round and round without making any progress? And so if any of this sounds familiar, not alone, of course. This is again, what happens, and it's not intended to be judgy. Certainly done it and fallen into the trap too. In fact, I caught myself doing it the day that I wrote this podcast. I had a thought of, fuck it, I'll draw the line Monday. And this is from, somebody who spent many a year now working on ditching that type of thought pattern. But the difference was I caught it and I'm exploring it, and I know I get to choose which voice I listen to. The diet thinking brain, where I then go into pocket eating all weekend, because the diet was going to start Monday brain, or the food freedom brain, which says there's no drama here. I get to choose my relationship with food in any given moment of the day, and it doesn't have to start on Monday. I can start right now, because the point is we get to choose. And so, right, folks, it is time to take the reins and dial things up a notch, pun totally intended. We've talked about the psychology behind starting again, and we've explored the impact of the language and ways in which you might be able to identify if you're caught in this restart trap. There is also an episode called Watch Your Mouth, which is more about the language that we use, because our language can be more telling than we might realize. But what I want to introduce you to right now is a concept that I've been thinking about, and one that I think will help you to break free of the start again cycle, so that you can embrace a more balanced and empowered approach to your wellness. And I want to give you this tool, and it's going to give you full permission to put yourself in the driver's seat, where you should be taking full ownership of your life, weight loss, and everything in between. And I'm calling it the dial of freedom. So might be a bit antiquated, I guess, with some of us, with us being more used to like using our phones with buttons and sliders, but you all know what a dial looks like. So I'm going with the dial. I like the idea of the dial. And this dial is yours to control at the end of the day. So imagine it's got numbers 1 to 10 on it. And so if you're in the membership, check the dashboard. I'm going to go into this this tool and in more detail. And it's actually called the Dial of Freedom. And I want you to think of your life and weight loss journey as like dials on a stereo. Again, I'm going old school. We've got dials on our stereo, okay? And you're in control of these dials, and you can turn the dials just like you can, turn up your favorite playlist. You can crank it up for those high energy moments, or you can turn it down for some chilled vibes. And you have the same control over your wellness journey. You have the power of choice. These dials are in your control. And so too often we get caught up in all or nothing thinking, where we're either, again, on track or off track completely. So we're at the opposite ends of those dials. But here's the truth. Life is messy, and so is finding our wellness. So is discovering our wellness, our relationship with food. But sustainability doesn't lie in perfection. It lies in seeking to make progress. It lies in seeking to take action. And to make that as easy as possible on us, and so that we can find more joy and turn up and keep the motivation and momentum, that means being able to embrace the ebb and the flow of life, dialing things up when we're feeling motivated and dialing things down when we need a breather, or making conscious choices to deliberately dial it up or deliberately dial it down. So how do you take control of the dial of freedom? Well, again, it starts with self-awareness, as does everything. It's the first A in the AAA way for a reason. You've got to pay attention to how you're feeling, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. All the things about what it is that you're currently working on, like whether it's general wellness, whether it's something in your life, whether it's weight loss. That you can have whatever dials you want at the end of the day. They're yours. So what is the dial that you are working on right now? So for example, if I was looking at my weight loss dial, I would say my dial's been about a 2 or 3 in weight loss for a while. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I've had some weight gain, some physical weight gain. I've got to make a distinction here. For me, it's not about physical weight nowadays. That was where I started, but my relationship with food, my relationship with my body, that's all evolved over time. But I still, it's what obviously most people understand is sort of physical weight. But I do want to make a distinction because, as you hopefully know, we're very body positive in wellness for women. So just because I've gained some physical weight, it doesn't, again, have to mean a bad thing. I'm not bad. I'm not a failure. I've not fallen off the proverbial wagon, um, because that's what makes the difference to my mental and emotional weight. And that ultimately for me is far more important. And I know that I can choose to turn up that dial whenever I want to. It just happens that other dials arrived and they took over. I found that I had competing priorities, and so my weight loss dial got turned down. But if I want to aim for more balance, then it may be that I need to choose to crank up the weight loss dial or my healthy eating dial or my movement dial, whatever it might be. But then I probably will need to turn down the dial on something else because, we can't have all of our dials at 10 all of the time. So ironically for me, it was working on my business and looking to help other people lose weight with love and working on this podcast, for example, that has taken me away from where I was when I was very actively losing weight and when I got to my goal weight. And so it's a bit bizarre, really, that what I wanted to help people with, the very thing that I want to help people with, I turned that dial down. But the difference is that I get to choose. I get to choose where my dial is. And also, I believe that I had to go through this. I'm getting into personals now, but I had to go through this to learn a lesson. And I know exactly why my weight loss dial went down thanks to belief coding. And that's the beauty and power of belief coding. We can find out our innermost whys and then to but anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically one thing that I will look to work hard on is not kicking myself in the butt, not making myself feel like shit over it. Those are the old diet ways, the ways of the fresh start, the ways of the new beginning. Like I said, I've got lessons to learn from this recent period. And if I don't learn them and I just do a fresh start, what you resist persists. And so therefore it will just keep reoccurring. Had to go through this to learn a lesson because we're either winning or learning. There is no such thing as failure in my book. And so here's the takeaway. Identify the dials that you have in your life. Cliched as it may be, embrace the journey and remember that wellness and healing and changing our relationship with food, any item in our life, it's not a destination, but a continuous evolution, a series of twists and turns on the dials of life, right? And so whether you're cranking it up to 11, dialing it down to a whisper, just know that, again, you've got the power to create the life that feels good for you inside and out. So wrapping up, because I'm conscious that I've been on for a while, what a journey, right? Okay, we've just been on a journey just through this episode. We've explored a little bit behind the psychology of starting again, delved into the impact of language on our relationship with food, and learned how to take control of the dials in our wellness journey. But again, your journey doesn't have to end here. Likewise, it's not just the beginning. We continue to write our own book of life. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become the best version of ourselves. And you are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough just as you are. But you also get to choose what you do. You can leave the dials alone or with a big sign that says don't touch, or you can fiddle with them, their knobs, and design the sound of your life, right? And so I want to give you some growth work. Like I say, if you're in the membership, grab the resource, not grow the resource, grab the resource. If you're not in the membership, check out the description box. You're more than welcome to join us. But regardless, I want to give you this growth work. I want you to take a moment to just reflect on your wellness journey. So where are your dials at? Just rate it 1 to 10 at the moment. What's your dial? So identify your dial and then rate it 1 to 10. Where do you think it currently is? And then identify where you want that dial to be. So, it could be that you're at a 2 or 3 like me and you want to be at a 10. And in which case we've got to start moving that up. What I would encourage is not to just crank it literally right up because you will burn out. So what's just one small step, small twist of the dial that you can take today to just dial it up? Or If it's something that you're trying to do less of, what's a way that you can dial it down, depending on, again, whatever your mind, body, or soul needs. There is absolutely no right or wrong. It's just an exploration with love and curiosity. So let me know how you get on with that growth work. And other than that, I am going to love you and leave you until next week. Bye for